Flattered.
Shut up, we're live. Finally. Hello, everybody. And hold on, I just have to say, this is the first time I've been able to be live on Facebook. What just happened? Did you see the light change or
I
something?
did something paranormal's going on right there behind you. Ah.
That was weird. I don't know what it was though.
You're brewing something paranormal there, Taryn.
All right. So anyway, what's that? Oh, so I haven't been able to go live for 2 months. You are my first live show on Facebook in
What?
2 months.
I feel flattered and honored. Actually, I've been watching your show, and I'm glad that you allow some of us B-listers on the show every now and then because you've been getting nothing but big stars. So I'm glad you still have time for us little guys.
Oh my gosh. Stop it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, everybody is equally. I love everybody equally.
I know you do.
Everybody I have on is awesome. I love all of my
Yeah,
guests.
you do such a great job too. I watched the Jason Hawes interview. It was fantastic. I mean, and look, where else would I rather be right now?
Oh my gosh, I know. Am I moving still? I look like I'm frozen. Can you see me?
I can see you and hear you, and you're
Okay,
moving.
there we go. All right, here we go.
Mm.
Ajing from Indonesia, Ron.
Wow, Ajing,
Yes,
hello, good evening.
she's amazing. She is
Wow.
amazing. So, for everybody in Paranormal King Radio, here, oh look, here he is, Paranormal King Radio Network. My name's Taryn, host of Paranormal Brew, and I have wonderful Ron Murphy with me. I mean, this is the second time you're on the show.
That's right. That's right.
Um, so I'm live on YouTube, Facebook, BB3 TV too. I didn't know I was going to be able to go live on Facebook, so I hope nobody's having a show.
Well, actually, wait, this is the third time we've been together.
Is it?
It is, yeah, third time. I keep count. I know you can't keep count because you get feeding pictures, but I keep count. Yeah, the third time we've been together.
Okay. This is awesome. So
Mm.
today, so for everybody that's listening
Mhm.
to the show, just can you give a little bit of a background for anybody that doesn't know who you are and
Yeah,
how
I would find that odd that
incredibly
nobody would know.
amazing and smart you are? And I love having you on my show.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm just a regular dude that's ever since I've been a kid, I've been interested in the paranormal. My mother got me interested because she used to we'd listen to the radio about some activity that was around our house, and then she would take my brother and I out, and we would do our own little investigations. So since a very young age, I've always been interested in the paranormal. But the older that I got, I started to figure out that let's see if we can put this all in a historical context. Let's see if we can kind of connect the dots, as it were. So I try to look through a very historical, sociological, psychological prism and kind of get a little bit closer to the truth of a lot of these kind of hauntings and goings on. I'm a big Bigfoot guy. I like cryptids. I like monsters. So I try to get to the heart of the archetype of why we have these things in our culture now.
Oh, see, there you go. Archetype. Can
Mm.
you just enlighten the less educated?
Well, an archetype is simply a symbol that appears around the world, and it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So every continent except Antarctica and every culture has something like a wild man figure, okay, or a vampiric figure, or a figure that could shapeshift like a werewolf. This is part of cultures around the world, and it's very curious to me why these things are out there. Why do we need these things? I mean, is it possible that we could have encountered these things in our ancient past? Is it a psychological need that we need to have these things because they take the place of what we don't want to admit that we're capable of doing? Or
Hmm.
is there something even stranger going on? Because they are actually embroidered into our very DNA. We need these things as much as they need us. They keep us
Hmm.
alive and we keep them alive. It's kind of like this weird symbiotic relationship. And even though they haunt our nightmares, we're still doing shows about them. We're here together
Sure.
right now to talk about these kind of strange things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am very like, and then that's why I love talking to you because, I've broaden my horizons to get out of just doing ghosty stuff, and that's why I love having like all walks of life on that, whatever you're into,
Right, right, right.
um my 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 mama, she's a huge believer in Bigfoot.
Mhm,
um I am not,
mhm.
but I'm not saying that there isn't something out there,
Sure,
so
sure.
I don't know what it is it,
Mm.
like you said. I mean, I also throw in the fact that we have, us as humans have to have labels for everything,
Right, right,
right? So
right.
we call it Bigfoot, but really, what is it?
Right. Well, I think that you really hit the nail on the proverbial head there because I have never seen a Bigfoot either. So you can't, like, I can't go to a court of law and say, I know this thing exists. All I can tell you is I've had circumstantial evidence. I've had strange things happen to me. I've heard other people's testimony, but I still keep an open mind, even as almost impossible as it seems that there's an 8 foot tall bipedal creature roaming around North America at a time when there's a Walmart every 8 miles. It seems rather difficult to accept. Yet people are seeing these things. So, and the other point that you made is also very telling as well. Okay, I like to go do research in the woods as well, but I think that the forest of the human mind is just as fascinating as the footprints that are left in the moss and everything. There's something still traipsing through this gray matter, this gray forest of our imagination, and I think that it's we need to really look at this from multidisciplinary perspectives. This should be taught in colleges. This should be taught at universities because it really has an impact on humanity. You know what I mean? It really does. Sorry about that. My phone keeps on going off. So let me
And
just
I'm the popular one.
yeah. Well, that's probably people were saying, "Hey, Ron, are you you're on TV or something like that?" Something like that. But no, I think because all these cultures have, like I said, we can even find rock paintings in the Kimberley Formation in Australia, of all places, going back about 35,000 years. Now, this is in our ancient past, and there is something on that formation that resembles a bipedal, hair covered creature. So, whatever is going on for thousands of years.
Well,
Eh,
and UFOs too. Like,
eh,
there's
oh,
also all the pictures that they show, these
mm,
drawings of them, the people pointing up to the sky and
that's
seeing
right.
these, like, they draw these like flying saucers and stuff, like much like the ones that look like. But do
Right.
we get that idealization from that,
Mhm. Right.
or is that implanted in our brains because we have archaeologists, we have researchers, we have all these people that have through the years have reported this stuff,
Right.
right?
I
So,
think, yeah, this is all very important because who we are as human beings, if we would look just, from a scientific basis, it suggested that we've been in our present state for about 200,000 years. That means the same brain that, Picasso had and Einstein had, we had 200,000 years ago. So that means that the brain that Stephen King has, we had as well too. So we are creative creatures. We like to explore, we like to expound, and we like to elaborate. So it's very possible that there were some creative people out there that were interpreting the world around them in just a really magical sort of way. So that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is these things that are painted on there, were they painted from life? Because I know what you're talking about. We think about cave paintings as being very rustic, and this is one of those things where people were just, trying to form some sort of semblance of who we are. But you're talking about these paintings that are from the Renaissance that shows, what appears to be a spaceship, and sometimes even with a pilot in the spaceship. 400 years before the first flight down at Kitty Hawk.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting. I mean, but what I was saying was like what if it's just that we've created this picture that we think we
Mm.
see because we've been taught that.
Right.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
That's right.
creating that in our brains, like planting
Absolutely. So I like to look at this from a Jungian perspective, the idea of Carl Jung. So his perspective would be this, that something informed our collective imagination thousands of years ago. So whatever we think about now is is an evolution of that first encounter that we had with
Sure.
whatever, whether it be the miraculous or the monstrous or what have you. And it sticks with us to this very day. It made such an indelible mark on our human psyche that we carry that scar with us now. That's
Hmm.
the reason why we're so afraid of the dark. That's the reason why we're so afraid of things that go bump in the night, because something so impacted us as humanity that it remains with us to this very
I
day.
see. I see. I get it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm
Right.
just
No, no,
saying,
no.
I'm just saying like they're you know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
pointing out like what may be possible, which even in itself is something incredible
Right.
happening. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because the thought process is being projected,
That's right. That's
so
right.
that would be amazing too. Anyway,
Yeah.
but
So as I've explored this for a number of years now, and I've looked at it from a whole bunch of different angles, what your last sentence was makes the most sense to me. Okay. So we're all looking out in the woods for apex, predators or what have you, this megafauna, Bigfoot, Dogman, all these different things. What happens if there is something out there that we haven't really considered, something intrinsically linked to the land itself that is capable of producing images within our mind?
mm,
So yeah, so that's the reason we aren't getting photographs. If there is something out there that is capable of doing this, some sort of natural intelligence,
hmm
that in order to stay elusive, through coevolution, they have the ability now to make us think that we're seeing something that's not there. That is an extremely interesting thing, and it does have precedence in nature. There are animals out there that use things like pheromones to make other things such as ourselves stay out of that particular territory. For instance, if you smell a skunk, you know it's a skunk, right? You
right.
put all this kind of stuff, but there's also things like you know I just lost my train of thought. Infrasound. There's also things like infrasound out there that we know that cetaceans make. We know that whales and dolphins make it, reptiles make it, like alligators and crocodiles. But there's also mammals that use infrasound, like giraffes and elephants and even lions and tigers. And this infrasound is able to impact us to such a way that we can start having, even visions of things. And that is the kind of stuff that is extremely interesting to me. It might seem a little bit boring because I'm not putting together a litany of sightings and, this happened and that happened. I'm putting out there some theories that may make some sort of scientific sense, and it might really be the fulcrum on which we look at the paranormal world.
Right. Tom is saying also, I have never seen a spirit or anything paranormal yet. I do believe that some of it is actually existing. And no, I just don't mean having faith in the belief.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Yep. No, I think that we all have to keep an open mind.
Yeah,
You have to
absolutely.
be skeptical. You have to be skeptical because at the end of the day, if we're not skeptical and we take
Right.
everything at face value, we're not getting any closer to the truth.
Right.
So we want to really delve into this and try to figure this thing out without being so wide-eyed that really the origin of this stuff might be even more vast and more grand than we could possibly believe.
This is true. I mean, I think it is. I mean, when you think about the universe in itself,
Mm,
not to go off on a tangent because we are supposed to be telling Christmas ghost
mm,
stories, but
mm,
when you think about how big the universe, like
mm,
I can't even like I'm in love with the night sky. Like I love
mm,
meteor showers and lunar eclipses, and I love watching like all everything about it. I love it. I want to see the aurora borealis. I want to Milky Way, all
mm,
that stuff, right?
mm.
But fuck if I'm going up there.
Right, right. So,
Scares the
yeah,
crap out of me. Like
yeah.
I can't even when I watch movies about it and
Mm,
stuff, and they're like up there and they're
mm,
like floating around out there. I'm
mm.
like I'm sitting there like everything's clenched, and I'm
Wow.
like, no way, I'm having a
Yep.
panic.
Yeah, same way with the deep ocean with me as well. I'm the same way
Oh, I'm the
whenever
same
it
way with
comes
the
to it.
ocean.
Yep,
Yeah, no,
same
it's too
thing.
big. Nope.
Right. But you know what? What you said does make a lot of sense because we're looking at the miraculous. We're looking at the eternal. We're looking at something our minds cannot comprehend, even though it's right in front of us, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And so, is it possible that there are metaphysical elements to this universe that kind of transcends everything, that can come down and interact with us? I mean, that's when we get to the part, talking about Christmas again. I think that's whenever people talk about angels and those kind of visitations, we're talking about that, right? We're talking about, not to go off on a religious tangent, but when people talk about angels, what we're talking about are beings from another level coming down and imparting some sort of knowledge to us.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, I mean, it's just, oh, now I lost my train of thought.
No. I see. But it's a lot to think about because whenever you only
It
have
is.
an hour to try to fit a whole bunch of stuff in it, you have to try to, kind of. But you bring up very good points, and that's the hallmark of being a great interviewer. There, Taryn, is that you can get off script and come back around again. But no, I think that there is something very human to the world of the paranormal, even though it's vastly incomprehensible. It still has this kind of human element to it that we can recognize and we can elaborate on and we can even interact with.
Yeah, absolutely. But us as humans do that with everything, right? Like I do that with my plants. I
Yes.
do that with like my animals, I give them human emotion and I give them all that stuff, So yeah, I totally and like I said, there is no way knowing all that and trying to take all that in, that I think that we're the only people that exist in this
Right.
entire makeup of whatever it is, like.
Sure.
So I know there's got to be other stuff out there,
Sure.
what it is we don't know.
And I think that is what's so magical about Christmas time, is that what we're dealing with here at Christmas, whether we're dealing from a Judeo-Christian perspective or from a Wiccan perspective, or just from a perspective of this is me in a particular time and place, and I'm dealing with everything that's going around. It is a magical time of the year. This is whenever the world is going to change very quickly. There's going to be a solstice very soon. So all
Yes.
this impenetrable night that we've been through is now going to slowly give back over to the daylight, And hey, in a way, that's kind of miraculous. Think about this. In a pre-scientific world, you are now have the understanding that there's hope out there in the world, right? That's one of the reasons. Well, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I think that's what makes Christmas so utterly magical, and why there are these kind of traditions associated with it.
Yes. And I am so interested to hear, and I know I'm going to learn stuff
Sure.
tonight.
Oh yeah,
This is
yeah.
why I'm excited. I
Well,
love learning, and then I know you're going to like really tell me some stuff.
Well, my whenever I was in college, I remember one of the mantras of history professors is history does not exist in a vacuum. We are not separated from the past, and in a way, we're not separated from the future either. It's all one and one. So I'm trying to think about what kind of links us all together, because that's really what I'm here for as somebody that's a historian plus a paranormal investigator. So let me ask you a question. What
Yeah.
is your favorite Christmas carol or song?
Favorite song?
Yeah, Christmas carol. Yeah, song, whatever. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's not really like old school though. I mean, Santa Baby by Eartha Kitt.
Santa Baby. Yep. I was expecting something much more religious, but sure, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. So Santa Baby. Yeah, I was going to try to jump into it, but
I
that's
can
okay.
find something else. All right.
Yeah. Mine's Little Drummer Boy. I'm just saying, though. But I'm just saying, the Little Drummer Boy. But
Okay, Little Drummer Boy.
yeah, okay. It makes no sense because we're not even going to cover these songs. The song I'm going to cover, I thought you were going to say it's the most wonderful time of the year, which is really one of my least favorite.
All right, so let's rewind. So ask me again.
What is your most favorite song to listen to this time of the year?
Oh, it really gets me in the Christmas spirit.
It really gets your jingle balls jingling.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
That's what I was going to say. So, can you hum a few bars?
No, I cannot.
Okay.
It,
Okay.
no.
So it's the happiest season of them all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there's going to be kids jingle belling, right? Whatever the hell that means. There's holiday greetings, makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
There are going to be marshmallows a toasting. Have
Yep.
you toasted a marshmallow yet?
No.
No, either have I. No, no.
No. I don't think I've ever
What?
on Christmas. No.
Oh, not on Christmas. No, that's that. This song is crazy talk, and I will tell you now why this is crazy.
Yes. School us, please.
The very end of this song that I'm going to tell you right now. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's a time for scary ghost stories. Do you remember that
Yes.
line?
Yep.
What the hell does
I know,
that
but
mean?
you know what? I never realized it until like maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, I was a little
Yeah.
kid and I thought, I've never heard anybody tell a scary ghost story ever. That never happened. But guess
Yeah,
what?
like a scary ghost, like a Chris. But then when you think about it, Scrooged.
We do think about that. And remember what we said? History does not exist in a vacuum, right? So Scrooge did not come out of just nowhere, right? It came out of someplace. And it
Right.
comes out from this tradition of telling ghost stories a long, long time ago.
Right.
Crazy. That's crazy to me.
Uh,
Yeah.
I know, but the see that just goes back to what we were saying in the beginning, that all this goes back.
It goes back. I will tell you how Shakespeare viewed this wonderful time of the year, the most wonderful time of the year. He said, a sad tale's best for winter. I have one of sprites and goblins.
Hmm.
This was in the Renaissance. People were still telling stories about this.
Isn't there
So
another song? There's another song that says something about, or is it just the one?
I hope it's just the one. I hope it is because I don't know if I'm prepared for any more of this. No, no.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine where that would have come from?
No, I couldn't imagine where that come from. So
All
that's
right,
my
so break
whole
it down for us. Go ahead.
no, so that's my whole point. It's like, so we just got through with Halloween not too long ago, right? I mean, it seems like yesterday, but we just got through with Halloween, and that's all about telling ghost stories, right? That's the whole point of the whole thing.
Right.
So I'm starting to think about, as a historian, why was it important for ghost stories to be told during the Christmas season? And I come back to the same conclusion. Work with me on this, Taryn. What do you think that conclusion is? Why do you think people in the pre-modern world were telling ghost stories during Christmas time?
I wouldn't say it was maybe to hide, like it was to I don't know.
My
I was gonna say to hide
conclusion
like maybe religious beliefs or something like that,
is,
but
yeah,
or
we'll come to that a little bit later on, absolutely. But at the very core of this is my belief. This is my theory. I'd like to hear what your audience has to think about this. Just like Halloween, this is the perfect time for people just to die. And I will
you
tell
think
you why. Let me flesh this out a little bit. So at Halloween, we know, that's the Celtic New Year, right? So at Samhain, Samhain means winter's end, by the way. That's what the word, the original Celtic word means, summer's end. So this was a time whenever livestock was brought down and slaughtered and everything because it was going to be cold enough that you could store all the food and everything. And this would be the last time for a big feast until the summertime. So you would gather together with all of your friends and you would know that winter is coming along. And some of those friends and some of those loved ones that you have may not survive, right? And at Halloween, that's the very beginning of the season, right? So you know what the word, so the solstice takes place on December 21st. That's the
Mhm.
first day of winter, okay? But in the agricultural world, that's actually called midwinter because that is in the middle of the cold season. So they're right at that halfway point when things are going to go from bad to worse. Okay. So it is my theory that the reason why people gather together this time of the year, it was one to hope a little bit about the sun's going to be returning. But the other one was that there is still a very real chance that people that you love and people around you are not going to survive these cold winter months.
Wow. I mean, it does I mean, It's right because and then you have people say all the time like, oh my gosh, right before Christmas and Christmas,
Wow.
Christmas, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing. So, and we're talking about before Christianity. We're talking about, in the ancient world, and that's the other thing too. Halloween takes place. It started probably about the same time of the birth of Christ. So it's about 2,000 years old. And there's also a Roman custom right around this time of the year too, called Saturnalia, and it also takes place 2,000 years ago. So something was going on in the world that was very um, impactful at this time of the year. Cultures were changing all over the Eastern world as well as in the Western world as well too, and you see a lot of these kind of celebrations coming about. But the Romans, they knew also that this was going to be a time that it was going to be very difficult to get through, and they would come together and they would celebrate for 12 days. Like where you get the 12 days for Christmas from, and it would be at the end of the 12 days, you would exchange gifts. And sometimes you would exchange gifts of these little clay terracotta figures called signalaries. And you would exchange them with your friends. And these signalaries were in the shape of a human being. And some people believed that this was a leftover from whenever people actually exchanged human sacrifices this time of the year.
holy crap,
Yeah. So you can see a little bit of blood going on in this particular time.
wow,
Yeah. Now that's the Romans, of course, and they're pretty vicious people.
yeah,
But one of the ways to appease the gods, especially whenever the gods are personified as nature gods, one of the ways to do this is through sacrifice. And one of the most needed times for sacrifice is this time of the year. Because if things do not go well, with this particular time of the year, not only are people going to die, but animals are going to die, and it's essential that this time goes well to assure that you're going to have crops and everything like that in the summertime. This is just a very crucial time of the year.
now can you imagine living back then? Like we bitch and complain now about
That's
how
right.
bad we have it. Like
That's right.
seriously, back then there was
Right.
like everybody back then were sociopaths. They had like zero feelings
That's right. That's
except
right.
for anger
Well,
or like, you know.
yeah, I think that's something you had to really harden yourself, right? You
Mhm.
had to start believing that your culture was better than anybody else's culture, and that is the only reason why you were able to do such acts of barbarism. The idea of sacrificing a human being, that takes a lot of initiative. Human beings usually don't do that kind of stuff or think that kind of way. So in order to do that, you have to look at other cultures almost like they're animals, they're less than you.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's all very telling. And to think that part of the Saturnalia, which is a precursor to the Christmas tradition, did involve at one point human sacrifice.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, and like that toughness and
Mm.
human sacrifice was like normal back then.
Well,
Um,
absolutely.
so you had to be tough, but I feel like that toughness has like weakened over time, right? Like because think about I always think about the Civil War, right? And I
Mm,
think about how boys lied about their age to
mm.
fight,
Yeah.
right? So they were what? There's 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds barefoot
Mm,
walking state after I mean, think about that. Like
mm.
no no 12 or 13-year-old now would do that.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know? There's no way that would
That's right.
happen.
That's right. And we're only talking about the 1860s. We're not talking about
Right,
ancient
right,
history.
right,
So
right.
now rewind out another 2,000 years and think about that. Oh, but I think the Civil War is one of those things where you can actually see. I mean, that was, you really don't want to think about fighting your enemy if you're fighting somebody that doesn't have the same religion that you do, or the same language that you do, or even looks that much like you.
Right.
Now imagine fighting, people that were literally your brother. That
Yeah, for
takes a lot.
sure. Yeah.
So this is all really leaning into this whole idea of archetype terror. See, this is all coming around now. So a lot of the times, whenever I study archetypes, like the idea of Bigfoot or like the idea of vampires, at the end of the day, when we remove that mask off the archetype, what is left is a human being, because we do not want to admit that we are capable of doing very, very evil things.
Mm.
So we make monsters. But for most of the time, that monster is indeed us.
So you think that's what, like, so Bigfoot, but I mean, like, you don't ever hear of any of these cryptids like really hurting anybody.
No, I mean you don't. I mean there are like some whispers here and there of that happening, but I'm not saying that
Right.
that is
I
the
mean,
case.
Mothman was different. Like Mothman, they said every time they saw Mothman, like,
Right, right.
but Bigfoot, Loch
Mm,
Ness, like all those, even like Dogman and all of them. Like you've never really heard of
mm.
anybody being attacked by a cryptid. It's just people have seen it and it runs away.
Right. But what do you say then to the people that are go out in the woods and are never seen again?
What do I say about that?
Yeah, because it's very possible that the people who have a run-in with these creatures and are never seen again would tell a completely different story.
Probably,
Yes.
but I mean, me, I would probably be like I mean, I think it's weird that because there's people from around here that just disappear,
Oh, yeah,
but
just disappear, right?
right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, but I think they're in a wood chipper or something like that, or, in the Pine Barrens somewhere, or, they, fell in a lake and, something and stuff ate them or
Right,
something.
right.
I always,
Yeah, but that's one of the big things in the field of cryptozoology is that sure these things seem to be at least somewhat, ambivalent towards us, but not never overtly aggressive or anything like that. But then there are the cases of people that say that they're going to go out on a hike and they're never seen from again.
yeah,
And there are kind of like, there's a place down in Tennessee between Tennessee and Kentucky called Land Between the Lakes where there is a legend, and it's not an ancient legend. It only goes back probably until the 1970s, where there was a supposed dog man that killed somebody that was archery hunting, and also killed a family that was camping there.
really.
Yeah, true
Yeah,
story.
so I've never heard that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've heard of like, well, it really wasn't cryptid. Would you? Well, I mean, I was gonna bring up. I can't bring it up because, like I said, it's like so much because you know everything.
Yeah,
Um,
bring it up. I
but
want to hear what it is. Maybe I don't know this.
no, you totally know it.
Mm.
What's that? It just had a show on about it as like everything.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker,
Yeah.
yeah, Skinwalker Ranch.
Mm,
Wouldn't you? I mean, is that kind of because I mean, it hurt animals and stuff like
mm.
that. So wouldn't that is that kind of I don't know. Well, they don't know it's there really.
Right. I think Skinwalker Ranch, if it is indeed a true location, I wrote a book on werewolves. I didn't.
You don't believe that you think maybe it's not real?
Well, I no, it's a real location, and like I said,
Oh,
I did include it in my book about werewolves because apparently there are some canine things that go on there. Strange looking dogs and sometimes upright looking canines and things. But my problem is whenever a location becomes profitable, whenever people are deliberately making money off of something, and then you think, is the truth being stretched now? Is this really going on? That's whenever I become a little wary about things that are going on. But Skinwalker Ranch, that particular area, if you would go back probably a little over 100 years, there's been it's been a hotbed, almost like a hotspot for a lot of
yeah,
paranormal activity. Yeah.
yeah. What about Krampus? Is that just a
Oh
legend, or is
no,
does that come from something?
yeah. So Krampus is going to be one of these alpine type of traditions. You don't find him all over the place. These are usually in the mountainous Scandinavian countries, although he has crept down a little bit into Germany as well. But he is
Is he
definitely a
crumped out?
well, it did. Yeah, that's right. That's right. But he's definitely pre-Christian. You look at him. He's a wild creature. He resembles parts of a goat. He has the goat's horns. Why do you think people always have trouble with goats?
I don't know. I want a goat.
I know. I would like to have a goat too. First of all, their eyes look really weird, right?
I want a fainting goat.
Okay.
So or a pygmy, little
Yeah, we
pygmy
could
guy.
arrange something like that. We could arrange something like that.
Yeah, I want
But
a pygmy.
they're scary looking though.
Yeah, they are.
Well,
They have like those,
they
those
have horizontal eyes. Those their eyelid, their eyes.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Right, they were. And also,
Yeah.
maybe before you go out and get a goat, you know that they are very sexually charged creatures.
Are they?
Yeah, very true. That's the reason why you have like
A
the
fence
pan.
between me and the goat?
Yep, the Pan figure, the Seder figure, the Satan figure. The reason why these things have become the embodiment of a goat is because they, yeah, that's the reason. They're very sexually charged creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and so you're thinking that like like they were perceived as bad?
I no, well, see,
Is that why you're saying? Because you said like they use like that as like the Satan, you know
right.
what I mean, and stuff like that. So
Right. So the only time that sexuality can be seen bad is whenever it takes over reason, right? That's the big thing.
well,
Once it supplants your rational mind, then it becomes dangerous. Then it becomes bestial, right? You're not a human being anymore. You're an animal. Okay. So these kind of figures represent um, parts of us that we don't want to submit to, or at least give over to fully,
hmm.
if that makes any sense.
So yeah, it does. Then so this is what the belief was.
Right. So if you would go back into the Middle Ages and you would see witches and covens, dancing around, the devil would be, invariably represented as a goat
Wow.
because he would be having intercourse with these women.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's the yeah. And like if you go back to the ancient Greece, you have the satyr there as well too, which is half man, half goat, and that is the reason as well too.
wow.
So Krampus, as we can go by extension, that he obviously was a pre-Christian, um, maybe not a deity, but a pre-Christian boogeyman of some sort on what would happen if you would allow the wildness in humanity to be unchained.
Really?
Yeah.
So why do they say like he's like where's the Christmas link to that though?
Okay, so there's really no Christmas link to this at all until we have Santa Claus coming into play. Okay,
Okay.
so obviously the Krampus was um, honored or feared possibly during this particular time of the year. And that is not the only figure that is feared at this time of the year in those countries either. There's also something that goes on at this particular time called the Wild Hunt. And that's, whoops, my thing just fell. And that's where Odin will roam about the countryside. Let me see if I can. There we
I know,
go.
me too.
Did yours fall too?
No, you know what happened? My
No.
my light went out. Okay.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, something doesn't want me to talk about this. Something doesn't want me to. We're being shut down, folks. Okay, so um so Odin. We'll get back to Odin real quick.
Yeah.
So Odin, he's the All Father. He's this great Nordic god. Okay, so during around December 21st, he would lead the wild hunt, which means he would gather up the spirits of the dead. He would gather up fairies. He would gather up all these creatures, and they would roam around the countryside. And if you happened to be outside, he would whisk you away and you would never be seen again.
Wow.
Yeah. So obviously a personification of the kind of wildness that happens in the wintertime. Storms, avalanches, things of that nature.
I
It
wonder
also
I wonder what they're gonna say in like 200 years when they find an elf on the shelf.
uh, exactly. They'll be making their own, but this is a written world. I keep on telling my kids this as well too, because they bring up that stuff. We are a written society, so it's like there's not going to be anything left to the imagination as long as they can read text messages. Everything will be okay. Right.
Right.
So we have the wild hunt. We have all this wildness that goes on, and it's my belief that Krampus came out of this kind of belief that things are going to be running wild. A personification of nature, if you will. So what happens is the Catholic Church comes in and says, guys, we want to make you guys, Christian. Would that sound fun? So the people that are there saying, we really like this Jesus figure. Look, don't get us wrong. This whole love your enemy as yourself type of thing really makes sense to us because for the past 2,000 years we've been being killed by you guys. So you know what? We really want to make this guy our God as well too. I only have one problem. We have traditions that we kind of like as well too. And one of our traditions is this goat guy that comes in and punishes children.
Yeah.
So the church kind of thinks about this for a second and says, you know what? Okay, you can keep the goat guy, but is it possible? Well, just hear me out here. Is it possible if we include him with a saint? Would you do that for us? And they thought about it for a little bit and they said, yes, we'll do that. And that word right there means synchronization. That's whenever you take two very unlike customs and throw them together, and now you synchronize them into one thing. So that's what happened. So Krampus is still around, but early on, maybe by the 7th or 8th century, in comes St. Nicholas. And Krampus and St. Nicholas wander about the Alpine world on December 5th, which is St. Nicholas Day, and they go door to door. And if whenever they enter, the little children, let them in. St. Nicholas goes in first. If he finds the children have been good, he gives them gifts. Gifts like an apple. Oh, I saw that. Did you see that?
Yeah, what
Like,
was that?
I don't know. I don't know. Something strange is going on.
Wow.
Oh, I
Okay.
will let you know if I see a Krampus behind you. So St. Nicholas would come in and he would give you like a cookie or a piece of candy or an apple, something really like kids nowadays would want nothing about. But if the child was found naughty, then the Krampus would be brought in, and he would beat your child with a rod. If your child was very naughty, he would put them into a sack and abduct them, and they would never be seen again. Which is going back to the idea of the wild hunt that I brought up earlier. Because you see, if you're not listening and if you're not being good, you could be swept away and whisked away into another realm and never be seen from again.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the psychology that parents use today with, like I said, the elf on the shelf. Like he's watching you. You're
He's
not going to
watching
do
you.
this.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and also if you go back to a time whenever there wasn't any electricity and there wasn't any 911 or anything, you would also want your children in this particular time of year because very strange things could happen. A pop-up blizzard would separate you from them. Or like I said, an avalanche or a sudden cold snap, any of this kind of stuff. So they act as a boogeyman to us. This is the way you would operate just to keep your loved ones safe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like people complain today. there was
Yeah.
like no,
Well,
there was no mercy.
no, I have 5 children, and I will tell you this. If I lived at the time whenever there was the Krampus, I would have 0 children now. They would have been taken out one by one in a basket, and I would have never seen them again. Yeah.
Oh, I would have been gone a long time ago.
Probably, yeah. Yes,
Long
yes,
time
yes.
ago. There would
Yeah,
have been no paranormal proof for sure.
that's right. Yeah, so we see the very two distinct cultures coming together and working in unison. And they have a very cool effect together. But when we talk about St. Nicholas now, when we talk about Santa Claus now, he comes from that same tradition, mind you. The "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." It was written in the 1830s. Santa Claus, if you can remember, is not a human being. You know what he is? He's a jolly old elf.
Mm.
Huh? Huh? And not only is he a jolly old elf, he doesn't ride on a big sleigh. His sleigh is pulled by 8 tiny reindeer. So he's very small. He's very
Yeah.
small. And he also uses magic by putting his finger upside of his nose and he transforms into some sort of vaporous material and up the chimney he goes. So
Yeah.
even our first appearance of Santa Claus has this mystical paranormal element to him.
True. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Yep. It's not until when. Oh, this is going to be a good question. This is an excellent question, and this is a good. So, when does Santa Claus become ho 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 Santa Claus?
Wait, where are you seeing that?
Where?
Are you reading a question?
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, I thought you were reading a question.
No. I was. This is. We're having rapport right now.
I'm like, I don't see that comment.
No. There's no comment there. No. I'm just asking you a question. I'm just
Okay.
throwing you out a question here.
All right, go ahead.
When does Santa Claus become Santa Claus?
I mean, I've always known him as Santa Claus, so it's got to be longer than that.
Right.
Um, whew.
So 1830s, we have the jolly old elf. Okay, the 1830s, the jolly old.
It was called Jolly Old Elf.
It says it was the night before Christmas. It
Oh
says,
yeah. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, in that,
jolly
yeah,
old elf.
yeah, yeah.
So when does he now become a human being?
Well,
This is
so
interesting, especially for somebody like you.
I'm gonna say maybe the 50s, the 60s.
You would think so, and you would be right if you would go with the 1850s or 60s. It was actually
Okay.
the middle of the 1800s, and it was propaganda brought about for the Civil War. So Thomas Nast was writing. He was a cartoonist, and he was from the North, so he was very pro union, and so he would write all these little things, these cartoons and everything, and show that Santa Claus was the idealization of the American way of life. It was something to come home to. Now, not only that, um, the North, was making a lot of bank back in the Civil War. They had a lot of cheddar going on. New York City was at one time making more than all the southern states combined. So
Mhm.
what had happened was in the North there was a creation for the first time in history of something called the middle class, and the middle class now has expendable money. And not only does the North have expendable money, they also have factories to mass produce items that people could now buy with this expendable money. So Santa Claus now comes into the scene as somebody that would give gifts out to other people. It was the domestication of all the wildness that we had seen in the Wild Hunt and with Odin and with Krampus and even with it was the night before Christmas. Santa Claus is now domesticated and he becomes kind of like the Uncle Sam for the northern way of life for us to now come home to, for us to kind of rally around. And if we accept this vision, you too could have that way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because down south there's not a lot of people to buy for. You had groups of people, but one particular group of people really didn't have a lot of money to buy anything with. So now what they're saying is we can now supply, if you follow our ideologies, we can now provide you a middle class, and the Santa Claus is kind of like the epitome of what the middle class is because he now exchanges gifts because gift exchange was something that was very unheard of. As a matter of fact, the Puritans hated Christmas. A lot of New England states actually outlawed Christmas until the 1800s, and after the
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was too it had a smattering of the Pope to it that they would say.
Hmm.
It was just too, and also they didn't like the idea of the frolicking around and the jingle belling and the drinking and stuff. In the Middle Ages, if you would go back in time to the Middle Ages, Christmas time was a time for preparation. This was a time to go to confession. This was a time for fasting. This was a time for abstinence. This was not a time for celebration. This was a time to prepare your way and make ready the way for the Lord.
Yeah. Well, there he goes. I wanted to put on the chat so I could say it. Well, yeah, and then that was even I don't know where it was. Where was it? See, I'm gonna totally because I learned this at some point, but I choppy learned it. Um, but the song, there's the songs that some of the like when we were talking about it in the beginning,
Mhm.
um, the Christmas songs that have where the kids would sing it so they could pray.
Yes, right, right, right.
So
Like,
and the candy cane has like a significance where when they were told they weren't allowed to, you know, do church or do this or do that,
sure,
they made up
right.
these
As people
songs.
do, as people
Right.
do. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I always think about the 12 Days of Christmas. That's one of the classic ones. You know that each of these things represents something in religion. So, yeah, that's a great point. Again, what is also cool about this is that we can see that even in a more modern age, that the world around us has to be personified in almost a parable type of way so people could understand it on different levels.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's why we always humanize everything.
We anthropomorphize everything because if the things that we fear look like us, maybe we can understand that because people are fickle. People can become very angry, just like the natural world. And the next moment, they can be providing us with things, and that really is a way to in a pre scientific world, that is a great way to understand the world around you. Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about Scrooge.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
first of all, one of my favorite Christmas movies is Scrooged with Bill Murray.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
I love that movie.
Okay. Would you say that your favorite Christmas movie is Scrooged?
Mm, no, Die Hard.
No.
No.
Right, right, right. And I will give that
But
to you. That is a Christmas movie.
Scrooge's probably, it's cute. You know what I mean?
It is.
I'm not a big um chick flicky love story type person. There's a few I like, but so Christmas movies, like I always watch Scrooged for sure because it makes me laugh.
Right, right,
But
right.
yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Um, I want to tell you a secret. This is just between you and I. I do not like A Christmas Carol. I don't like it. I don't like it. So, I've done some acting in my life, and I have played Mr. Fezziwig before in A Christmas Carol. And I don't care for the whole play itself. I don't.
No,
I don't.
I mean I think
No.
it's a good story.
Yeah. Do you really? Now, do you think so?
I mean,
Okay.
it's a good a good uplifting ending, you know?
Okay. Yeah. So we can really
But
come.
I'm saying, like, it brings in the spirit, like the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of
Yes.
present, the ghost of future, right?
Right.
So, I mean, you see this person, you're watching the movie, and it's almost a different version of It's a Wonderful Life, you
Right.
know?
Right. So we've come full circle. This is perfect because what we get in A Christmas Carol is the epitome of all of the Christmas tradition that went before it, right? So we have within the Christmas Carol, we have intelligent hauntings going on. We have residual hauntings going on where Scrooge sees actions is taking place. We have the idea that people can change and transform, that this time of the year is the perfect time to reevaluate your life and come full circle. You know what I mean? And I think that that is one of the reasons why people hold so dear to A Christmas Carol. And I do see the point why. I do see the point. But whenever we think about the traditions, the long traditions of telling ghost stories, this is what they did. This is the kind of things that they would do because ghost stories remind us that people have come before us. They remind us of the good things that people have done and the bad things that people have done. And ultimately, within a ghost story, you can live vicariously through somebody else and you can learn from their mistakes and transform your own life in a way without getting hurt in any way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Am I boring you, Taryn? Taryn,
No, I
am I
don't know
boring?
why this is happening right now.
That's
Like,
okay. No, no. Look, and
it's so weird.
understandably, we're doing this an hour and a half late too. That is true.
I know,
Rehearsal
but
started
that's
at 7:30. Yeah, I understand. No, no.
no, no,
Go ahead.
no, no.
No.
Plus, like my heat is like bumping. I'm like,
Yes,
it's look about how red my cheeks are. I'm like, oh
I
my
see
gosh.
that. Yes.
But
I thought you were
um,
it was because I was here, but that's okay.
of course, it's because of you. I was trying not, I was trying not to like put it out there.
I know, I know, I know.
So, but where did Scrooge come from then? It was just like a made up.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I will tell you, I will tell you a little bit. Okay, so um Charles Dickens didn't have a very good life. His father was arrested and put into a debtor's prison whenever Dickens was just a kid. So Dickens had to drop out of school and go to work in a blacking factory, which is where little kids would go and make shoe polish. And they would keep your loved one in prison until you could pay for their release, which is so strange to me. So eventually, Dickens's dad's brother pays him off or whatever, and Dickens goes back to school and he becomes a great writer. And one of the first things that a great writer would do back in this particular time period is take the grand tour, and that means they would come to America. And great writers in America would go to Europe and vice versa. But so Dickens would come to America. And you know where he came to? He came to Pennsylvania, of all places.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, he got off in Philadelphia and he took the canal boat over and he spent some time in Pittsburgh looking at the criminal justice system there and spending time at the penitentiary to find out what the difference was between punishments between here and in England. And whenever he left Pittsburgh, he went back home and immediately started to write A Christmas Carol. So there's a little bit of Pennsylvania in him. And I think that what he sees is Scrooge as an everyman. He's somebody that can be addicted to the idea of money. He can be, you know, does he have any redemption? He wants the one guy to come into work on Christmas Day. You know, he's a horrible human being, but he still has a soul. And through these ghosts that come to see him, we see that it's possible for even the stingiest person to change.
Mm,
In this story, my dear, in this
in the
story.
story, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say because like I I know some people that
Oh, I do too. That's
yeah,
right. That's right. Yeah.
yeah.
But buying a kid a Christmas goose and stuff like that. These are great stories. Great stories. But yeah, I mean that was so coming full circle. That is really what a Christmas Carol does. It draws on the traditions of the past. Whenever you talk about things that are scary to us, death and all that, because what this time of the year means, from a religious point of view, is that there is going to be some sort of salvation coming into the picture on the human stage. And before religion became a part of it, what happened was that nature was telling you there's a promise that spring will soon be here.
Hmm.
So this whole time has hope attached to it.
It's funny that New Year's follows that.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
I
When
do.
when we because you were talking about how it's a time of like to renew your life and do this and
Yeah,
make changes and this and that. But that's kind of like what New Year's is about, right?
that's
I
right.
mean,
That's right. That's the reason we should go to the Celtic calendar and make New Year's October 31st. It makes perfect sense for me.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, because our new year has nothing based upon the celestial movements or anything like that. We are just arbitrarily picking a particular time there. I like something that's based upon the astrological, like things are actually happening that we can observe that happens. And I want my new year to represent that, gosh darn it. That's not too
Well,
much to ask.
well, what the heck? We
Yeah.
have a fake New Year?
Yeah, we have a fake New Year. Yeah. So when January, just one of those arbitrary kind of thing. January is named after the god Janus, that looks forward and backward at the same time. That's the reason why we have the New Year's in January.
Ron, I can't every time there's just like more information. It's like just coming and coming. So every month is named after.
Yeah. So, the Caesars really kind of like, so July is Julius Caesar, right? And
Okay.
then August is Augustus Caesar. So they start pulling different dates from different months and everything like that. And that's the reason why we have, February, you had to take a couple days off that because other months needed to be longer because somebody wanted to get his jollies because he wanted his month longer than somebody else's.
Stop it.
Yeah. So, let me ask you. So, our days of the week, they're all named after, except for a couple of them. They're all Viking names, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Thursday is Thor's day, right? Thor's day, the god of thunder, and we talked about Odin, who quite possibly was the very first, at least, archetype for a Santa Claus, shall we say? And his day is Wednesday because sometimes he was called Odin, but sometimes his name was spelled or pronounced with a W. So Wednesday is Woden's day.
Mm.
Yeah, there you go. There you
How
go.
do you like? What do you Google to look? Like, I wouldn't even know to look this up. Like, I
Yeah.
just thought somebody
No, just a lot of book learning. Just a lot of book learning, my
so
dear.
amazing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't. I can't
Yeah.
stand it.
Yeah.
It's like I should just quit everything and go back to school, Ron Murphy school.
Hey, that's this is what I want to do right now. I think I've told you this before. I want to buy an RV and travel around the country solving mysteries. That's what I want to do.
Oh my gosh, if you paint it like the Scooby Mobile,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
So wait, but you were in the middle of saying something and then I interrupted and we went to this other thing.
Oh.
Because I was saying about
What about the month?
the new year.
About the month.
The
Yeah, the
new
new year,
year.
right? Yeah.
We have a fake new year.
Yeah, just an arbitrarily placed new year. Nothing is going on within the solar system to indicate we should have a new year that particular day.
That's just like crazy.
It is. It is crazy.
So it's supposed to be October 31st.
Well, yeah, because that makes sense because what's going on here is that is like the end of summer, right? We're now preparing for a whole bunch of other stuff. So I would think to have a new year to have an end and then go right into a new year. That makes sense to me.
Huh.
And then
I mean,
everything wrapped.
I mean, could you imagine celebrating Halloween and New Year's
I'm all
at the
for it.
same time?
I say we do it. I say we do it. I say if we don't change the law, we simply do it ourselves.
Oh yeah, we could totally do it. We
Yeah,
could
we
have
can
like
do that. Yeah,
we could have a fake New Year, a
that's
real
right.
fake New Year's.
That's right. That's right. And I think we should also get back to Christmas of exchanging little clay figures of human beings that we would gladly sacrifice if that was still allowed. It was like, Taryn, I love you so much. I would sacrifice somebody for you, but now we can't do that. So here's a little clay figure of somebody that I would sacrifice for you.
It's okay. So I guess that's where like all the gift giving and stuff.
Well, that actually goes back to, well, a little bit, but during
Because the
the
3 and 3, well, religiously they believe because they gave them gifts or
right.
whatever.
But
Yeah.
whenever you would have the Yule tree, you would bring the Yule tree in. You would sometimes put things underneath the tree as offerings. Like say that you wanted to have like more goats, so you would make little effigies of goats and put them under the tree, hopefully that the gods would look down and see that that was what your prayer is. Sometimes you would decorate your tree with them as well too. So originally, the gifts that were placed upon the tree or under the tree were prayers hoping that would be answered by the gods.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
So I can put like a little Rolls Royce replica under my
Well,
tree.
you could do that. Absolutely, absolutely. If you so want to do think that somebody's going to smile upon you and grant that to you,
And
sure.
I'm gonna walk outside and there's gonna be a
That's right.
gorgeous 2021 ghost Rolls Royce
That's right.
outside.
That's right. That's right. If that happens, come and pick me up because I would love to ride in one.
I think I would just sit in it
That's
forever.
right.
I wouldn't do anything else. I would just sit in my car.
Wow.
So, okay. Well, that was very interesting. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Elf.
You like Elf?
Yeah. Little Drummer Boy. Nestor the Long-Eared Donkey.
That's a movie or a song?
It's a claymation.
A claymation. The only claymation I think I've ever watched was Gumby.
Yeah, no, not like that. Not like that at all. Someone just said you might see Krampus this year.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I don't even know. He wasn't even Darren. I don't even know if he was watching when we were even talking about that.
I don't know.
Somebody said Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah, as for Christmas movie, yeah.
Oh no, Elf. The only part in Elf that I love Will Ferrell. I love Will Ferrell. The only part in that movie that was the funniest was when he thought he saw Santa in the mall. He started freaking out. And I always call him Big Worm because that's what he was in Friday.
Oh, right.
Oh my gosh, their interaction is hilarious in the movie. But that's like the part that I like.
It's a good part, Taryn. It's a good part.
Somebody else. Hi Dan. Unrestricted Paranormal. So this will be on Unrestricted Paranormal as well.
Fantastic.
Yep, he was late. He wasn't even here. We talked about Krampus earlier. Thank you. So Elf is your favorite. Yeah, I know everybody yells at me for that one, but I just wasn't a big fan.
That's okay. You know, it doesn't really have it doesn't make you feel good inside like other Christmas movies do. It's there to make you laugh and everything. You know, it's not one of those things that changes your life. Let's put it that
way. Wouldn't Gremlins be a Christmas movie?
It is a Christmas movie, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Gremlins, there
you go.
I love Gremlins.
I like the little Mogwai.
Who is the what?
You know, that's Gizmo. He's a Mogwai, right?
I want one.
And you get them wet.
So if I put a little Gizmo under my tree,
yep,
and a Rolls Royce, could you imagine walking outside the next day and Gizzy is sitting in a Rolls Royce just waiting for you?
I think that you might be thinking this too far through. I think that you might think this is a little strange now. No, you could do that. Sure.
You said you would put little things under the tree.
Right. Don't feed them after midnight, right? As long as you don't feed them after midnight or get them wet, everything should be good.
Oh my gosh. They come with instructions.
They do come with instructions.
No, my luck, I would get what's the mean one?
Stripe. Is it Stripe?
Strike or Stripe?
I think it's Stripe because doesn't he have a stripe down his head?
He does. He has like a mohawk.
Yeah,
that's what I would get.
Yep.
That's what I would get.
Yeah. Well, you don't get him. You have to get him from your Mogwai. Remember, your Mogwai has to produce this through asexual division.
Oh yeah. That's right. I forgot. Gizmo's voice was done by Howie Mandel. Oh, didn't know that. I didn't know Gizmo talked, but I don't remember him talking. Maybe he made like little cute little noises.
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
The Grinch. Yeah, the Grinch was good. Oh, you know what else was good? I thought it was kind of funny. Who's the guy? Why am I drawing blank? Bad Santa.
Oh, Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah.
Yeah. BMW and a Furby. Yeah, that's what I would get. Yeah. So Gremlins was a good one.
And Die Hard, and I'm trying to think about any other good ones that are set there, but are not literally,
like not classified as Christmas movies, but
right, yeah. Home Alone. Home Alone was filmed during Christmas time too.
Yeah, and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
No, that's actually Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's not Christmas?
No, that's Thanksgiving.
Oh, it always reminded me of Christmas, though.
I know, me too.
It's a Christmas movie to me.
Yeah.
Bad Santa was freaking awesome. Hi, Taryn and Ron. My first time with Taryn, but I've always enjoyed Ron.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Hi. Yes. Hi. Thank you. I hope you come again. Ron will be on again for sure.
I hope so. I hope you have me on more often. It's been about
You
5 years
should.
since you had me on.
Oh, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
It has not been. No, you do have to come on more often because, like,
I know.
I literally learned so much, and I'm so happy that this is this is videoed because I can go back and and try to take notes then.
Oh
You
yes,
know,
yes, yes,
because it's
yes.
such good information to have.
Well, the thing is though, you've had me on the show for 3 times. You've only remembered 2 of them, so maybe this will be a little bit more memorable for you next time.
Oh my goodness. Wait, I have a question though. The
Sure.
Abominable Snowman.
Yeah.
Okay, is that considered, you know, um, is that considered maybe the opposite of, Bigfoot's?
I think he would be one of the same. He would be of that same type of ilk, as they would say, some sort of unknown species of primate that roam about the world that hasn't been uncatalogued by science.
Yeah, but so do you believe in the Abominable Snowman?
Oh, I believe the capability that there could be an abominable snowman, of course.
I was looking for the show. Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, Darren. It was my fault. It was my fault. I was very close to not being able to make it for the show, but I had to fight hell and high water to be here, and I'm so glad that I did.
I'm glad that you did.
I know this is awesome.
I was like, there's no way. I love you guys too. And I'll come on whenever. I wasn't letting you cancel.
Oh, I'm not going to cancel. No, we would do this thing at midnight if we had to do it, and then we would do the show.
It's always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah,
it is. So, what are you going to have me on again? What are we going to talk about? We should just talk about this right now. When are you having me on again, and what are we talking about?
Okay, so we can do. You want to do? You would do what is it now? It's December. So January, I think 19th, 20th, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Let's do a show and we will have nothing planned out at all. We will just sit here talking and people will ask us questions.
Wait, what's Santa Claus is coming to town?
Yeah, that was a cartoon.
Oh, you know what else I like? I think is cute. Bad Moms. Is that it?
Oh yeah, that's with Christina Applegate.
And what's her face? Oh, clay version. Santa Claus is coming to town, clay version.
Oh,
yes, yeah. I do remember that. The Abominable, there was a little clay thing, Abominable Snowman too, right?
From Rudolph.
Rudolph, that was clay.
That's clay, yeah, and that was the Abominable Snowman. The Bumble. They called him a Bumble.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's right. All this is coming back. That's the Santa Claus 1985. Mm-hmm. What? Poltergeist?
Was that Christmas time?
Was there? I don't know.
Is there a tree?
I feel like the first one, maybe.
I'm thinking
I could be totally making that up.
Yeah, I think you're thinking about the tree outside that was scratching at the kid's window. I think you juxtaposed that with a tree inside of your house.
Juxtaposed?
I like that word.
I like that word too. You just threw it out there. Doctor Who.
I've never seen Doctor Who Christmas special.
What?
I've never seen a Doctor Who Christmas special.
Me either. What is that? Dan, I don't even know. I don't know about that. My little girl wants to come in here. Hold on. Come on. Come on. Hurry up. You coming or not? Come on. All right, I'm shutting it. Bye. She's like, I can't. Anyway. Well, this was a very interesting show and I loved it.
I did too. Yeah, it's I can't believe. I mean, this time flew by. It flew by, but every moment that I'm with you, it seems like mere seconds. So,
I can't.
uh,
I was laughing at what you said, but
right,
here's a Beavis and Butthead.
that's right.
That was a good one. Yeah,
It
he
was,
said the TV series Doctor Who.
yeah. I need to get out more. I watched some Doctor Who. I think I would probably get into it. I need to do that.
Yeah, I have to read more books apparently because I need to know Christmas Carol. Somebody said Christmas Carol is their favorite.
Hmm.
I really do. I can do questions. Yeah, you can ask something. Um, but I'm taking planes, trains, and automobiles with me. To me,
I'm gonna
that's
go with that too. Yeah, I'll go with that as well too.
I mean, it's really to me it just feels it's Christmassy. I don't
Right,
I feel like we do Halloween, we skip Thanksgiving and we're right
mm,
at,
right.
Christmas.
And it makes you feel good too at the end.
It does, and it's funny.
It
Steve,
is,
they were just funny together.
right.
I do yeah.
Yeah, John Hughes is great.
Yeah, it was just it's a feel good movie, you
Mhm.
know? All right. Well, the last thing. Pick a number. Hold
Okay.
on. From 1 to 129.
Wow. 3.
Okay. Now pick. Oh shoot. Not 1. All right, 5 to 129.
How about 13?
All right, good. All right, now pick A, B, C, or D.
D.
If you were instantly able to play one musical instrument perfectly that you've never played before, what would it be?
Well, I don't play any instrument at all.
Right.
So, what is the best one to get the chicks? Would you say a guitar?
To get chicks?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I would say the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would want to learn the violin.
The violin. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very classy instrument.
Yeah, I love it. I
Yeah.
love hearing it.
I
So
do
I
too.
would love to learn it.
The harp as well too. I would probably choose the harp, but my chance of getting chicks with a harp is very, very rare.
So drums.
Drums, I know, but the whole thing is, I was thinking about drums as well too. But you want to like carry it with you so you could show off all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they used to walk around. I mean, think about when they, let's bring it up, the Civil War again. They had the little musicians,
That's right. That's
They
right.
had the drums, they had the horns, they had to carry all that stuff around and the flag.
That's right. That's right.
What is she getting into? I can't even have it. Like, this is why I can't have human children.
This is worse than children. Absolutely. You know.
This is why I can't have human kids.
That's
What are
right.
you getting into? Well, we're going to have to set up another date.
We are.
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Right from work, even.
Yeah,
I mean,
I appreciate you doing this for me as well too. Now I'm going to have to go and take out the garbage because I know my children did not take out the garbage, and I have to clean up from supper and that I was not here to prepare. And I have a little guy that just snuck into my bedroom right now, and he's ready to go to bed. So that's
Yes.
what's going on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. You want to see one? Come here. I'll show you one of my children here. He's going to be making his premiere here, right here. But this is a little 9-year-old that probably should be in bed.
Hi. Yes. So you go. Next week I'm gonna have duo demonology on.
Oh, right. Yes.
We're gonna be talking about Christmas-y, demon-y stuff as well. So
Sounds
we're gonna
excellent.
be, doing all that. So this week we did the cryptos and the legends and all this stuff, and then next week we're gonna be doing the duo demonology side of things.
I want to hear their take on the Krampus.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely bring it up. But thank you.
Thank you, Taryn.
I love you.
I love you too, Taryn. Anytime I will be here on a moment's notice. When you need me, I will be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we got to set up another date so you can come on. We can talk about lots more stuff.
Lots more stuff. I cannot wait.
Me either. And we're getting our little baby bat tattoos.
We have to get those. Yeah, we have to get those yet. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have lots to plan.
Lots to plan, my dear. Lots.
All right. I will talk to you soon.
We'll see you soon, guys. We'll see you. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, Ron. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I did not know I was going to be able to go live on Facebook tonight, and I just tried it, and it happened. So I'm back on Facebook, but I'm also still on YouTube and all that stuff. Next week, I have Demonology coming on, and I think the week after that, next week is what? Okay. Demonology. Oh, and then I have Michael Laciana coming on, and then January 5th, I have April Busette, the psychic housewife of New Jersey, coming on, and working on some guests going forward. So I hope you guys join me. I love y'all. Thank you so much for chiming in and commenting and being here. Wow. Be safe.